Imagine this. You wake up, grab your phone, open Instagram, and the first thing you see is a fan page posting. TLC quietly removes Mido from 90-Day Fiancé. No statement. No dramatic tell-all confrontation. No we wish him the best. Just gone. And within minutes the fandom is spiraling. Did he quit? Was he fired? Did something happen behind the scenes we were never supposed to see? And here's the biggest question of all. Who benefits if he disappears? Now let me say this clearly before we go any further. This is a fictional what-if scenario. This did not happen. But sometimes the fastest way to understand how reality TV really works is to imagine what would happen if the curtain slipped just a little bit. Because here's what we know about 90-Day Fiancé. People don't just vanish mid-story for no reason. If someone's confessionals shrink, if their arguments get cut short, if their narrative suddenly shifts tone, that's not random. That's editing. And editing is power. So let's really slow this down and play it out step by step. Filming is halfway done. The couples are messy, but manageable. There are tears over visas. There are awkward family dinners. There are culture clashes. There are explosive arguments followed by emotional apologies. Producers feel like they have a solid season. Not boring. Not dangerously chaotic. Just enough drama to keep viewers hooked every Sunday night. Then there's a closed-door production meeting.
No cameras.
No cast members. Just producers, maybe a network executive, maybe someone from legal, maybe someone from PR. Voices are lower than usual. The mood is different. And one name keeps coming up. Mido. Now the real question isn't what did he do. The better question is what changed. Because in reality TV, it's rarely about one single moment. It's about patterns. It's about how someone's behavior stacks up over time. It's about trajectory. It's about how someone is landing with the audience versus how production expected them to land. Maybe they expected him to be the intense but passionate partner. The fiery personality that creates drama but still has redeeming qualities. The guy viewers love to argue about but still tune in for. But what if the audience reaction started shifting? There's a thin line between compelling and complicated. Between controversial and uncontrollable. Between love to hate him, and this is becoming uncomfortable to watch. When a cast member crosses that invisible line, the network stops asking romantic questions. They start asking business questions. Is this good for ratings? Is this safe for the brand? Are advertisers going to feel uneasy? Is this sustainable for the rest of the season? And here's where it gets even more interesting. In our fictional scenario, the first sign something is wrong isn't an announcement. It's not a press release. It's not a dramatic on-screen exit. It's the edit. And if you've watched this franchise for years, you already know the edit tells the truth before the headlines ever do. At first, it's subtle. You notice Mido's confessionals feel shorter. Instead of long emotional explanations, you get quick reaction clips. Instead of full arguments, you get condensed highlights. His perspective feels trimmed down. His explanations feel rushed. Moments that used to linger now pass quickly. Scenes that seem like they're building toward an explosion suddenly cut away. And if you've watched enough 90-Day, you know TLC loves a payoff. They don't build tension just to abandon it. If there's a blow-up, they usually show the blow-up. If there's a betrayal, they replay it from multiple angles. If someone storms out, we follow them into the parking lot. So, when a confrontation gets teased in a preview and then barely makes the final cut, fans notice immediately. And this fandom is sharp. Some fans start saying, why does it feel like they're minimizing him? Others say no. It looks like they're protecting him. And that split right there is where the psychology of reality TV really kicks in. Because perception is everything. Let's say early episodes painted him as intense, reactive, maybe even a little controlling in certain moments. The audience forms opinions fast. Social media labels him within days. Clips circulate out of context. Think pieces pop up. Reaction channels dissect his tone. Then suddenly the edit shifts. Less dramatic music under his reactions. Less emphasis on his sharp comments. More neutral framing. Fewer close-ups of angry facial expressions. That kind of shift is never accidental. Editors are storytellers. They decide who gets the villain arc. Who gets the redemption arc. Who gets the misunderstood but trying storyline. And once they choose a direction, they usually commit. So, if Mido's portrayal changes mid-season, it suggests something forced that change. Either production realized they miscalculated how the audience would respond, or something off-camera made them reconsider how much of his behavior they wanted to amplify. And that's when the speculation machine would explode. TikTok creators start posting side-by-side comparisons of early episodes versus recent ones. Reddit threads break down missing dialogue line by line. YouTube commentary channels start asking, is TLC quietly rewriting this storyline in real time? And this is where we zoom out. This isn't just about one cast member. This is about how much control production has over what we believe is reality. We think we're watching raw emotion, but we're watching selected emotion. We think we're seeing full conversations, but we're seeing curated moments. We think we're forming independent opinions, but those opinions are guided by music cues, reaction shots, and what was left on the cutting room floor. So if that curation shifts, it means someone behind the scenes made a decision. But why would they? Picture this. Episode 3 teases a massive blow-up, raised voices, a dramatic walkout, maybe someone crying in a hallway. The preview frames it as the turning point of the relationship. It feels like this is the moment that defines the season for them. Then the episode airs. We see the beginning of the argument. The tension rises. Music swells. Faces tighten. Words get sharp. Accusations fly. And then it cuts. Next morning. No resolution.
No breakdown. No emotional aftermath.
If you're a long-time viewer, that feels off. Because this franchise thrives on aftermath. They love the uncomfortable breakfast scene. The friend giving advice. The family member saying, I told you so. The tearful apology. The awkward silence. When that formula breaks, fans sense it instantly. In our fictional scenario, viewers start asking hard questions. Was something said that couldn't air? Did legal get nervous? Did production decide the footage crossed a line? Or did it simply not fit the new storyline direction they wanted? Some fans would argue they're protecting him from backlash. Others would argue they're slowly phasing him out. Both theories would gain traction because both feel believable in reality TV culture. And here's the deeper layer most people don't talk about. If a cast member feels like their perspective is being reshaped, that creates tension off camera. Yes, contracts usually give production strong editorial control. But emotionally, that doesn't make it easy. Imagine filming your relationship at its most vulnerable. Your worst fights. Your most insecure moments. Then watching it air in a way that feels incomplete or slightly distorted. That frustration builds. It can spill into interviews. It can spill into interactions with producers. It can change the way someone answers questions. And once tension shifts from couple drama to production drama, the stakes rise dramatically. Messy relationships are expected. Messy relationships with production are not. That's when networks start protecting themselves. Now, let's look at the relationship dynamics inside this ripple effect. If Mido senses something is off, fewer interviews, different tone from producers, less screen time, his energy changes. And energy on reality TV is contagious. When someone feels sidelined, they either withdraw or they escalate. If he withdraws, he becomes quieter, less reactive, less emotionally available on camera. Viewers might read that as growth, or they might read it as distance, or even guilt. If he escalates, maybe he becomes more confrontational in confessionals. Maybe he questions how he's portrayed. Maybe he starts subtly pushing back against the narrative. And that tension would be visible even if we don't know the full context. Now zoom out to the other cast members. Reality TV isn't just about love. It's about positioning. Who is the breakout personality this season? Who is getting the sympathy edit? Who is becoming the meme? Who is trending on TikTok? If one person's storyline shrinks, someone else's expands. That's how airtime works. Alliances might shift. Maybe one cast member publicly defends him, saying viewers are misunderstanding him. Another distances themselves quietly, not wanting to be associated with controversy. Some fans would see those reactions as genuine friendship. Others would see strategy. Because more screen time means more followers. More followers mean more brand deals. More brand deals mean more leverage. In today's reality TV ecosystem, that's real money. So if production is even hypothetically debating whether Mido is worth the risk, that ripple affects everyone. Now, it's not just about love stories. It's about survival inside the franchise. And here's the network perspective. Controversy can drive ratings. But unpredictable controversy scares advertisers. Networks calculate risk differently than fans do. Fans want drama. Networks want drama they can control. They want arguments that can be edited into a clean arc. They don't want situations that spill outside the frame in ways they can't manage. If executives are sitting in a room asking, is this sustainable? They're not just thinking about one cast member. They're thinking about the entire franchise. Because 90 Day Fiancé is not just a show. It's a brand ecosystem. Spin-offs, streaming deals, international distribution, advertising partnerships. Social media extensions. One storyline that feels unstable can shift the entire risk profile. Now imagine social media catching even a hint of this. Reddit would explode with mega threads analyzing every missing confessional. TikTok would create timeline breakdowns comparing episode cuts. YouTube commentary channels would dissect editing patterns frame by frame. Some fans would say TLC protects certain personalities while sacrificing others. Many viewers would argue editing has become more obvious over the years. A section of the audience would believe cast members sometimes get iced out if they push back against production. None of that would be confirmed, but perception spreads fast. And here's something fascinating about fandom psychology. When viewers think they've caught production manipulating a narrative, they become more invested. They start rewatching episodes. They analyze tone shifts. They look at body language differently. They question background music choices. They scrutinize reaction shots. Engagement actually increases. So, ironically, even a rumor of quiet removal could boost conversation around the show. But here's the curveball. What if there was no firing? What if the storyline shift wasn't punishment? What if it was pacing? Maybe producers realized another couple was resonating more strongly and needed more focus. Maybe they saw that Mido's arc peaked too early and needed to cool down before a late-season twist. Maybe they planned a redemption arc and needed to reset audience perception first. In that case, what looks like removal is actually repositioning. And that changes the interpretation completely. Because now it's not about scandal. It's about storytelling structure. Reality TV seasons are built like scripted dramas. There's a beginning arc, a midpoint escalation, a turning point, a late-season twist, a reunion confrontation. Sometimes characters disappear temporarily so they can return with more impact. But the audience rarely sees it that way in real time. They see absence and assume consequence. That's human nature. We fill gaps with assumptions. We connect dots that might not even be connected. And reality TV thrives in that gray space. Here's what this entire fictional scenario really exposes. Reality TV is constructed emotion. Producers choose which conversations make the cut. Editors decide which reaction shots linger. Music guides you towards sympathy or suspicion. Lighting can soften or harden a scene. Confessionals can reframe a moment entirely. And we fill in the blanks with our own assumptions. If someone disappears, we assume guilt. If someone's edit softens, we assume protection. If someone suddenly looks sympathetic, we assume redemption. But most of the time, we're responding to a narrative blueprint we can't see. And that's what makes this genre so powerful. It feels real, but it's shaped. It feels spontaneous, but it's structured. And here's the final layer. None of this happened. There was no confirmed firing, no official removal, no secret executive announcement. But the reason this scenario feels believable is because we've seen versions of it before across reality TV history. Cast members phased out mid-season. Storylines rewritten after backlash. Confessionals reduced without explanation. Sudden tonal shifts that left viewers confused. So the real question isn't would TLC fire Mido? The real question is how much of what we believe about these couples is shaped by editing rather than events. Because one production decision can redefine a person's public image overnight. One shift in music can turn intensity into menace. One trimmed argument can erase context. One missing apology can make someone look heartless. That's how fragile reality TV narratives really are. And that fragility is what keeps us hooked. We're not just watching relationships. We're watching perception being built in real time. We're watching characters being shaped. We're watching stories being engineered. And sometimes the most dramatic storyline isn't the one on screen. It's the one happening in the editing bay. So if one day a cast member's presence quietly shrank and no one explained why, would you assume they crossed a line? Or would you assume the network was protecting its own interests? And if TLC ever did quietly remove someone mid-season without a tell-all confrontation, without closure, without explanation, would that make you trust the show less? Or would it make you watch even closer? Because sometimes the biggest drama on 90 Day Fiancé isn't the argument we see. It's the conversation we don't. And that unseen conversation is what keeps the fandom analyzing, debating, and coming back for more long after the episode ends.